Simon Ince from Warrington Certification Ltd. My talk today is about choosing competent people. Very often, particularly in today's climate, people want bargains. They want absolute rock bottom prices for high quality stuff, and what they don't seem to appreciate is that, you know, if you pay 25 quid for a risk assessment, there's a reason when you're paying 25 quid for a risk assessment. It's probably rubbish, it's probably not worth the paper it's printed on. And it's about people's inability to be able to actually define quality and value for money. Sometimes I do a presentation and I include a TV and flat screen TV. We bought one a couple of years ago for Christmas, and what it narrowed down to was that I could get a flat screen TV for £200 or £1,500, but they're not the same thing. So when I narrowed it down, I also got the same specification, where I was looking at the same make, model, standards, same features. Then I could say, well, I could get one for £200 there, or I can get one for £300 there. And so I went for £200 because it's exactly the same thing. When we're selecting competent people, we're very often comparing apples with oranges, and we don't appreciate that that there is a difference, and that's when people get into trouble, because they appoint someone who doesn't do a good job, and it turns out that you cannot get rid of your responsibilities. If you're responsible for fire safety, you have to get those responsibilities right. If the goal goes wrong, you can't say, well, it's his fault. Well, they will say, well, how did you select him? Well, I looked in the yellow pages and I picked him out in the yellow pages. It isn't good enough. You have to understand that they are doing a service for you, and because it's a life safety service, then you have to take a bit more due diligence in that process.
Would you recommend that people keep a record of that due diligence process?
Absolutely, they need to have that record. They have to have an auditable trail of where they selected, why they selected, and what processes they went through to get that. There was a classic case of a fire risk assessor who's been sent to prison, and the owner of the building got sent to prison. So the two of them got sent to prison, and the reason the owner got sent to prison is because he picked someone out of the bar to do it for him. It was someone who drank in his bar, and he said, you know what, you come and do my fire risk assessment. Well, I mean, it was rubbish, it was woeful. People in that building could have died if there was a fire. So he had no defence to call. I couldn't say, well, it's his responsibility, because he hasn't gone through a process. Whereas if you go through a proper process and select someone that's on a proper register, then you can actually mitigate that. You can say, well, you know what, I've done all I can as a layman. I've chosen someone else as an expert in the industry has told me they are competent to do the job, and therefore it's really not my responsibility. So that's kind of what we're looking at today, and because of events recently with the coroner's inquest into Lacknell House, risk assessment comes up again and again and again with all the fatal fires. Lack of risk assessment, it comes up. So it's really important that people start to get that right. My argument is that we have to make it so simple that people cannot get it wrong. It's a bit like Hobson's choice, or Henry T. Ford, when he said you can have any colour as long as it's black. You know, you can't get it wrong then, can you? That's what you get. So you've got no choice, that is what you get. So today is talking about a national register, developing a national register of fire risk assessors.